Jonathan Jones, CBS Sports, alongside Las Vegas Raiders head coach Josh McDaniels, and a couple of guests here. Josh, before we get into the questions, please introduce us.
This is Nina, and this is Livy.
Well, hello. Can we say hello?
Hi.
All right. This is awesome. This is the first interview we've had. We've been to 6 camps so far that we've made it a family affair, okay. So this is great. Well, it's the first day of padded practices. We had a bunch of fans out here, obviously family. Just take us through how today went for you all.
Yeah, it's always – the first day of pads is always a little bit different. We've been running around in shorts for a few months, and now everybody gets out there and feels just a little bit slower. It takes them usually a few days in pads to get acclimated. We were blessed with a really good weather day here in Vegas, which is great. But, a lot of things to correct. We talked about after practice. This is probably the day where we'll learn the most and improve the most also from today to tomorrow. So we'll be hard at work this afternoon looking at every bit of film that we put out there, and I think the guys had the right approach today.
What do you mean by that technically on offense or on defense? What do you think you all are going to take from today?
Yeah, there's just a different level of physicality that you include with all the fundamentals and techniques that you've been working on. You've been working on them without the contact, and now all of a sudden there's another big guy on the other side of the line of scrimmage, pushing and pulling against each other. So there's a lot you learn from the film today, a lot that we'll try to do tomorrow better on both sides of the ball.
One guy who doesn't have to worry about contact, or shouldn't, Jimmy Garoppolo over there in the red jersey. So he's out there today. I know that he has no restrictions, but you guys still have some scheduled rest days for him today, obviously not one of them. Yep. How have you seen his progression so far?
Yeah, just, he's doing everything he can to really, embrace the leadership role that he has on our football team as the starting quarterback. And, he's really creating relationships with his team. We're working on our chemistry on the field and the passing game. And Jimmy's just, he's trying to do anything he can to help us be a better football team. So that's what I expected of him. That's what I've seen from him the last so many years when he's been in San Francisco, and we're excited to have him.
You two hadn't worked together since 2017, so I don't know if it's like riding a bike, to use that sort of metaphor, but how has it been to work with a guy who you do speak the same language, even if you have to dust off a little bit the accent?
Yeah, we're not starting from ground zero, that's for sure. And Jimmy, he has really great recall of the stuff that we use, the verbiage we used, back in New England when he was with me there. He's also he's able to talk a little bit of a different language because he has some experience with and some wisdom coming from Kyle's system as well. So. It's a back and forth. It's really fun. He's a great guy to have in the classroom. He asks great questions, and he's a quick learner. So all things you need to be as a quarterback.
How does that help you? How does that help this offense here in year 2 with this group? That it's an offense that I think on average is probably a little bit tougher, more intricate to learn. I mean, maybe hearing from other folks who have been here or are here today. Just take me through last year and sort of what you learned on how to make the offense simpler, perhaps, and user-friendly. There's the term.
Anytime you're changing coaches or staffs and then you change terminology, there's always an acclimation phase of that. And sometimes for some people it lasts a few months, other people it lasts maybe the first year. But I would say that the terminology and the things that those guys are communicating out there on the field now, for most of them, I would say it's much more comfortable. We haven't changed a lot of that in that regard. We have a lot of people returning up front on the offensive line, and a lot of skill guys that know it. So there's this year 1 to year 2 transition. You hope that you see that, and I think that's what we're feeling right now.
A lot of guys out there on the field. One who's not out there, your franchise running back. Is there any progress at all toward any sort of resolution?
Nothing new to report on that. I've said it many times. I love JJ as a player. I love him as a person, and respect the whole process. So, once that all resolves itself, I'm be eager to see him. As a coach, you want all your players here because selfishly, you just love coaching them and being around them. And he's certainly all of that, and we'll look forward to that day.
In the absence of any sort of resolution, what's the plan moving forward? Amir Abdullah, you got White out there as well, correct?
Yeah, everybody's taking reps. Training camp, really, nobody would get all the reps anyway. We know that. It's the time for us to build our foundation, and everybody's getting an opportunity. We have a lot of younger players out there that are looking to try to improve and make progress, and so that's what this time of year is for.
A lot of focus, a lot of talk this offseason. Davante Adams, he was a home run hitter. He's one of the best to do it, right? And I think 9 touchdowns last season of 30-plus receiving yards. Is that going to still be the case? You guys going to really, keep airing the football out down the field this year?
Yeah, when you have a player like Tay, you try to utilize his skill set the best you can. And so there's a catch and run element to his game. There's a stop and start element to his game. There's a deep element to his game. There's really nothing he can't do. He's one of the premier receivers in the league. He's certainly one of the best I've ever been around and had the privilege to coach. So we'll continue to build. Our philosophy is to just try to take our system and then build it around the talent and the players that we have. So he's obviously going to be a big part of that.
You talk about philosophy on the other side of the football. When you and General Manager Dave Ziegler, when Defensive Coordinator Patrick Graham, when you all sort of sat down this offseason and realized, okay, obviously the defense wasn't good enough last year, what all went into this season and trying to take that next step with this defense?
Yeah, we just we had an opportunity to evaluate what we had last year, and certainly there's a good chunk of those guys that are back in their second year, so we feel like those guys are more comfortable in growing in our system as well. And then we've added what we hope are going to be some impactful players. Marcus Epps, Robert Spillane, Brandon Faison in free agency. Got Jerry Tillery back, Adam Butler. Then we had a draft that we felt like we addressed some things, with some additions on the front, some guys in the secondary, a couple linebackers. So, just trying to increase our overall awareness, ability to play both the run and the pass. And we need to create more explosive plays on defense, take the ball away. We know we have a premier player in Max Crosby, and try to let him free up and do as much as he can to be productive and help us. But, obviously he needs some help, and I like what I see so far from our defense.
Some of that helped Tyree Wilson, who's the rookie in the draft. He's still not out here yet, but can be activated at any point.
Yep.
What is that any point?
Yeah, making progress. Nothing has happened, since the draft that's been negative. So we knew when we drafted him that there would be a process that we would go through. We didn't want to be impatient, try to hurry that, and then push it, and then end up setting anybody back. So he's right on timeline, making progress every day, working really hard, getting close, and when he's ready to go, he'll be out there.
Last question, Josh. What is going to be the difference between the year 1 Josh McDaniels Las Vegas Raiders and the year 2 Raiders here in 2023?
I think we have a ton of people that are excited about what we're doing. I think know what's being asked of them, understand what the Raider way is, meeting the standard that was put in place long ago here. That was a huge part of the allure for me coming here, where Mr. Davis and now his son. They know what they want, and we're doing everything we can to do that. We've embraced that responsibility, and I think our players are doing that now too. So just a lot more comfort, across the board. A lot of guys working really hard, a lot of competition on the field, which we hope will manifest itself in a really successful season.
Good deal. Josh McDaniels, and very special guest. Thank you very much.
Thank you.